welcome to Week in Geek, your new comics preview for May 21st. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
Well, I'm going to start off here with a book that I enjoyed the first issue quite a bit.
too.
This is Original Sin. This is issue number 2 by Jason Aaron. The caption here reads, "Who holds the eye?" Depending on whether or not you got one of those rubber eyeballs, it could be you.
Yeah.
They had those little promo rubber eyeballs, which were kind of fun.
At the moment, it's my cat.
There you go. So
Yeah.
your cat's
Cat really liked
perhaps
that.
the antagonist.
Yeah. Cat really liked that.
Well, I think Jason Aaron, he's creeping up there for me as one of those writers that I really just enjoy the way he weaves a tale. And this Original Sin I thought was fun. For me, I'm a sucker for a Nick Fury story.
Mm-hmm.
When I kind of like when Nick Fury's kind of underground and they got to go.
Yeah.
When he's just there all the time, he's not really doing what he does best.
Right.
When he comes popping in out of nowhere, like, all right, the fits hit the shan and I'm ready to take care of this. That's the best Nick Fury for me.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I'm retired. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah, we got to go to the moon. There's a problem. So I kind of like that. I'm liking the rumors that you were saying off camera, I think, last week about Nick Fury's possible participation in this.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome. I think there's a number of things that could be really, really cool spinning out of this story. The artwork is freaking fantastic.
Mm.
Again, Jason Aaron's writing is absolutely stellar. This is a fun book. This is a crossover that I'm actually excited about. One of their big event books.
Yeah.
The last few have been meh. So now I've got Daredevil number 3. This is the Marvel all new Marvel now. This is, although it's not much changed. It's still written by Mark Waid. Still,
Right.
We got art by, I believe, Chris Samney here. And the only thing that's different is he's now in San Francisco instead of Hell's Kitchen. So it seems like because Marvel's all moving out and they're all Hollywooded up because of the movies and everything, their characters have to be too. Remember when the X-Men moved from Massachusetts to San Francisco a number of years ago? So they're moving all the characters out there.
New York.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. You know what though? Brightly colored costumes seem appropriate for San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not that Daredevil would know.
this is true. This is very true. I don't know. This has been a good book. It's been since the beginning of Mark Waid's run. I mean, now again, not much has changed in this one. It's just the next parts of the story. Dealing with kind of the Foggy Nelson stuff, and it looks like we got Foggy in here. He's looking all bearded and whatnot. I think that's Foggy, right? No,
I don't know.
well, maybe not. But there was something going on. I don't know. It's been a cool story so far. I dig it. I just think it's nice to have a fun Daredevil book. Then I've got Hulk. This is issue number 3, which is also Mark Waid. He was in town recently, Motor City Comic Con this weekend, and I didn't even get a chance to talk to him at all. There was a little Harry in there, and I got to see as much as I got to see. I ran into you ever so briefly, and
I saw Mark Waid looking through a long box, though.
was he?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, very cool. And and there would be some retailers who would claim that Mark Waid doesn't even care about comics and is pushing digital, and yet here he was himself looking through a long box.
Flipping through a long box.
That says a lot.
It does.
Even Mark Waid, who some have deemed the enemy of print comics, collects print comics. Let it go. So this has been a pretty cool book. I like his take on the Hulk. We're finally getting back to some Hulk stories. They've done so much with him that I'll be honest, I haven't really had a Hulk story that blew me away since Peter David left the book.
Me too.
His run was so great. He built so many cool things, and he did it for so long that I don't know. I feel like a lot of other guys are writing fan fiction. This has been pretty cool though. It's got you had that fight with the Abomination that continues into this one. Mm-hmm. Mark Waid does a really good job of telling fun superhero stories, and that's what we're finally getting in Hulk again. Next, I've got here's a book I am an issue behind on again. This is Magnus Robot Fighter issue number 3. This is the Gold Key line that Dynamite has launched. I wasn't blown away by the first issue. I thought it was good. It was fine. You got to find a way to really craft a story and make a guy who fights robots in the future interesting. Valiant did such a great job of that by blending it into what they had done, with their new characters, saying that he was the child of, 2 of the Harbinger kids,
right.
And it made sense and blended their universe. And now I'm just, kind of trying to see what it is that Fred Van Lente's trying to do, and it wasn't bad. It didn't blow me away, but Magnus has never been my favorite. Anyway, but I'm still going to read it because I love that Gold Key stuff. I really, really do. And like I said, I'm issue behind. The art looks really, really cool. Looks like they've introduced Leisha, so now she's in here. So, all right, that's cool.
Human Hunter?
Yeah, that's different. So, I'm interested in all the Gold Key stuff that Dynamite is doing, which brings me to the second issue of Solar Man of the Atom. Now, Solar has always kind of been my favorite coming out of that stuff anyway. There's some about that design sense of that character. Yeah, he looks like a big red Cyclops. Or does Cyclops look like Solar Man of the Atom? This costume was around a lot longer. You know, it's very, very classic. I just, there's something about that design sense that's awesome to me. And coming out of kind of the fear of the nuclear age, which is where, you know, the whole thing kind of begins. Just really awesome stuff. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do. You know, they already got to introduce Solar. He's, you know, why it is that he has his powers, and they're trying to do some stuff there. And I can't remember the name of the woman that started the whole Unity thing the first time around in Valiant, but she is in here, and she was a character that was in the original Gold Key too. So they're keeping that solid, which is neat. Next, a lot of issue 3s this week. So I got another issue 3 here, which I'm an issue behind on. This is The Witcher by Dark Horse Comics. What really drew me into this book was the artist, Joe Quirio. He lives in Warren, Michigan. Oh, wow. Cool guy, an acquaintance. Really, really cool dude. Beautiful artwork. He kind of was discovered, he had talked to Guy Davis years ago, and then was rediscovered by Mike McDowell on DeviantArt, and he ended up doing an Abe Sapien story for Dark Horse Presents. Or was it Abe? No, I don't think it was Abe Sapien. Well, regardless, he did Lobster Johnson. There you go. It was still really, really cool. Just some neat stuff. And now he's doing this thing for Dark Horse over here, which is based on a video game. But I don't know anything about it. There's kind of like it's set in kind of a weird world. There's, you know, people from different classes. There's a witcher who's into some kind of witchcraft, and he kind of takes on this vagrant, and they find themselves in this forest. The vagrant guy's wife had been killed by sort of vampires, but she seems to be guiding them. It's a neat story with beautiful artwork. I really liked that first issue a lot, so I do have to get caught up on that. Then we've got X-O Manowar. This is issue number 25, the Anniversary Spectacular. Looks like they're splitting this into a couple different stories. They're going to have a X-O Manowar, The Fate of Kings by Robert Venditti, so they're going to probably tell a little origin thing there. And then also a new Armor Hunter's tale, because that's kind of the story they were starting to jump into, only to take a break for this issue 25 and then, you know, move on. What is this? Some Shadow Man X-O Manowar story by Justin Jordan with art by a guy I've never seen before, but looks awesome. That's kind of cool. So they got some neat stuff in this book, and I like X-O Manowar. You know, I always have good things to say about that. Next, we've got Mind the Gap, number 17. This is Act 2. Okay. So this is they're doing this a lot with these image books where they give you your Season 2 or your Act 2 or whatever, where they tell the story they want to, and a lot of them jump back to number 1. Morning Glories didn't. Hoax Hunters didn't. I'm really glad Mind the Gap's not doing it. It's issue 17. They're moving forward. You know, we'd started to find out some things about our main character, Al, and found out that essentially she has always been kind of an experiment. And, you know, that's why everything is kind of coming to a head. She's been put in a coma on purpose, and we're now getting to the bottom of something here. So it looks like maybe she's even waking up or something here. So I'm curious to see where this next act kind of picks up and what they do with it, because I think it's been a really, really neat story and something totally different. Unlike anything I've really seen before. All right. What do you got?
I'm going to start off with Miracle Man number 6. As you saw me kind of a little earlier, I was opening the bag. This is another bagged issue, I believe. Is this the Birth? No, this isn't the Birth.
See, the last issue, no one really saw anything questionable either.
I don't know either. I guess we'll see. I know there was an issue with some language.
Okay.
That got changed. That some people were upset that the language was changed. So maybe it's that. I mean, there does seem to be a little bit of nudity in here, but nothing terribly objectionable.
They don't bag their Max comics.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless they're just getting you used to the Birth issue, which is coming up, which is kind of funny and
maybe
funnier in a minute. But anyway, I don't know why it's bagged. But this is continuing book 2 of Miracle Man. This actually still has art by Alan Davis with some backup by John Ridgway. And we've got some more of the bonus features, reprinting an old story, some of the original artwork scans that look, you know, kind of like those artist editions. Continuing the original writer, Alan Moore, his groundbreaking 1980s take on the superhero. If you've been following along, you pretty much know what's going on. I read these when they came out many years ago, and I loved them, and I'm glad that we're finally getting able to get them to a new audience. And Marvel's done a fantastic job. I mean, I'm looking at the color on this. It's all modern digital colors, but they've done it in a way that really does
It looks great.
kind of evoke the sort of painted artwork that you saw in the 80s in a lot of independent books. The lettering is clear. The artwork is great. Great stuff. You know, some people are going to be waiting until these are collected, which inevitably they were.
Sure.
But for me, just the additional material alone is making it worth picking it up as it's going, because sometimes they don't reprint that.
That's true.
Or at least they don't reprint that until the last absolute giant size super duper edition.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to get all the behind the scenes stuff and see some of the other backup stuff, you got to pick it up in issues to be safe. Next up, Uncanny X-Men number 21. I am a little behind on this one. Looks like we got some Sentinel action on the front, which is kind of fitting because X-Men Days of Future Past is opening up this week, and it's going to have some Sentinel action. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going on with this. I know that was one of the plots with Cyclops and the X-Men and S.H.I.E.L.D. We're going to get to the bottom of who's been sending all these S.H.I.E.L.D. logoed Sentinels at the X-Men. But again, I'm an issue behind, so I don't know exactly where things are here. But some great Chris Pacello artwork. That's almost good enough. Next up, we got Amazing Spider-Man number 2, Spider-Man versus Electro, because there was a movie with Electro. And but more than that, this is also Peter Parker has returned, and he is now picking up the pieces of his life. Surprised to find out that he is CEO of a company and has a doctorate and has a girlfriend who's a little person who now knows he's Spider-Man but doesn't know that he was Dr. Octopus.
Okay.
So yeah, Peter's life always a mess, continues to be a mess. Jameson had to, because of what happened during the Goblin War, Jameson has retired or has resigned as the mayor of New York. So yeah, we're at that point where we're gonna get everything back to where it was. If you were mad about change, that's okay. Now it's gonna go back. That's how it always works. So we got Peter back. We got Electro. Electro's not wearing his fancy yellow spiked mask anymore, but he's not blue or black. So this is still the original Electro, but now he's just got kind of a weird blue lightning bolt on his face.
Yeah, that almost looks like a maple leaf.
Yeah, but it looks like we got the Avengers in here too, and they actually did believe everything that Peter said, because as soon as Peter came back, everything went terrible, and as he was out fighting crime, his entire costume got shredded. And they were like, that has to be Peter, because this would only happen to him, as he's running around fighting crime wearing basically a little web Speedo, which was kind of fun. But anyway, Peter's back, and the book is back, and go check it out. Next up, Avengers World. As I've said many times, I can't keep the Avengers book straight. This one looks like it's got Hyperion with a nice Neil Adams cover.
Yeah, that cover's nice.
I believe in the last issue we focused on, I think Gateway is his name, maybe? I don't know whether the guy who was a teleporter, who was unable to teleport, and he got his mojo back and can now teleport. Starbrand and some of the Avengers were trapped in the City of the Dead, and I believe the Avengers have sent some big guns to go rescue them. AIM is kind of running the show. This is Avengers versus AIM stuff. Some great artwork here. But yeah, again, I'm not sure how this all fits in. Marvel has kind of given hints that Hickman's run, even though this is actually just written by Nick Spencer, who was the co-writer. I don't know if Hickman's left the book or if he's coming back or not. But Hickman's big storyline is going to come to a head, and it's going to change the Marvel Universe forever again.
Forever until it gets changed to something else.
But
forever.
Hey, still good stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so apparently we are going to get a resolution of all that. I have a feeling all of this Avengers stuff is going to tie in and tell one big epic story when all is said and done. Next up, we've got Futures End number 3. I haven't read number 2, but it looks like we got Frankenstein.
Sweet.
So that's a good sign. We got Frankenstein. We got Mr. Terrific.
Frankenstein's in a lot of books this week.
Yeah. Some Dan Jurgens artwork. Red Robin dead? Maybe not. So yeah, this is the book that takes place 5 years into the future, featuring the Firestorm of the future, Batman Beyond from like 20 years in the future, who's gone back in time. Again, all this time travel stuff. it's hard to talk about.
Right.
But this is the other weekly books. This one hasn't set me on fire yet. This one, there was the first issue, Zero issue I liked a lot. The first issue was a little dull in spots. I haven't read the second issue, but because it's weekly, I got to get the third issue at least.
Right.
At least to not get too far behind. Next up, Batman Eternal. This is the other weekly book. I'm an issue behind on this one, but this one I'm liking a lot. This is
I've heard good things.
Someone has framed Commissioner Gordon, who's not commissioner now, I guess, because he's in jail. Gordon even believes that he did it, but Batman, Batman doesn't, and a lot of the Bat family doesn't, and they're going to try and figure out what's going on. While all this is going on, there's a new police chief involved, and the Falcone, was it the Falcone? I think it's Falcone. Has come back to Gotham and has started a gang war, and the police are going to stay out of it so that all the gangs can fight each other and kill each other. And of course, the cops are on the take because it's Gotham City.
Right.
So yeah, this has really been some good stuff. I've really enjoyed this. It's a nice way to kind of weave all of the Batman characters into one really big, epic story that's still a ground level story. I mean, they're not saving the world. It's a gang war and a mystery, and that's good Batman stuff. Next up, we got Sinestro #2. I really liked the first issue of this a lot. Sinestro's kind of getting his Yellow Lantern mojo back, and he's going to get his core back, along with the help of I don't remember her name, Lysa Drax, who was I think she was it the Book of Parallax or the Book of the Dead or something like that. But probably the single most popular Green Lantern villain, getting his own book. Jeff Johns really turned this character around. And made him less of a villain, kind of gave him that Magneto vibe, where he thinks he's doing right. He's doing what's good for his people, even though he got his planet destroyed. And this is him kind of taking back his core after he took off a while back.
Cool.
Next up, Justice League #30. This is Jeff Johns and Yvonne Reese. This is a Forever Evil tie-in. This has been kind of on hold until Forever Evil came out. But looks like we got Lex Luthor is going to be in charge of the Justice League because, as Lex often does when things go down, he comes in, pretends to save the day, and gets the credit. So there's a lot of Norman Osborn and Secret Invasion going on in that. But Lex
was president.
Lex was president, and I'm sure that all of this is going to kind of tie into Lex becoming president again in the New 52. But
that was a great story when they did it the first time around. It was brilliant.
That made Lex one of my favorite villains.
Absolutely.
And so we've got here the aftermath, or maybe the end of Forever Evil. Just trying to figure out where it all fits together. And next issue, Batman or Bruce Wayne versus Lex Luthor. That's a good fight.
All right.
That's some money against money. But in any event, this is sort of the wrap up of Forever Evil. The Justice League is back. And but things are going to be changed because now Lex is running the show. Next up, Saga #19. This is a book I am caught up with, but because they take that break every now and again,
right? I'm
not exactly sure where it left off. But
I'm kind of in that same spot.
We're starting up kind of a new story here. We've got some costumed characters that I don't quite recall.
I don't even think they've introduced those at all.
And yeah, it starts with a birth. A birth of a dude with a TV head. So I guess robots with TV heads still give birth like people do. But in any event, this has been a great book. It's won plenty of awards. We've sung its praises many, many times.
Yeah. Beautiful artwork, great storytelling.
And Brian K. Vaughan just really doing some great writing. So if you haven't picked up Saga by now on our recommendation, you're probably not going to. But if you are, you're going to enjoy this issue just as much as you enjoyed the rest.
Absolutely.
So that's my stack.
Well, that brings me to the top of my stack here. I'm looking at, and this is a book that I really had been looking forward to for a while. This is Invincible 111. You got all ones up there. So they say first issue in a bold new direction, first issue of a startling new era, first issue for a new generation. Now, this is a book that I have said over and over again is pretty much the only thing I've read that has a real evolution. When it begins, in the first issue, Mark Grayson's a kid. It seems very kid-friendly. It's a book that you can kind of read as a younger guy, and then you can't. You can't really give this book to kids anymore because it is evolved in such a way that it deals with a lot of adult concepts and crazy concepts. There's there was a lull there for a while because we were building up to the Viltrumite War. And then when the Viltrumite War happened, it was a long story, and everyone was like, oh, it was good, but, well, now what? And then they built up to issue 100, and it was like, oh, this thing with Dinosaurus. Well, now what? Well, this is what now. You've got Robot has lost his damn mind. He had been, in this alternate dimension for what they ultimately end up telling you is about 1,000 years. They did not tell Mark and what's his name, Cecil that because they didn't want him to think something was wrong. Something's clearly wrong. Robot has decided he's going to be a dictator. A few issues ago, they go to kill Angstrom Levy. When they get into this alternate dimension, Robot, kills Angstrom Levy. He then kills the alternate dimension Invincible and leaves our Mark there. Mark finds a way to get back. In the last issue, he's completely rejected by Eve, who's pregnant, because he's been missing for 6 months, and she told him this was going to happen. But, he can't ever finish with, but Robot killed the alternate version of me, left me there. I've been trying to get home because she already told him not to go. So he doesn't know what to do in that last issue. He's kind of flying away after having been rejected by the woman that he loves, only to then, now this is something that had been discussed as soon as it happened, and I'm going to say it, if you haven't read Invincible, well then don't listen, turn away. In the last issue of Invincible, he's raped by a Viltrumite. This woman basically says, well, we have to, breed with humans, and you're closer to being a Viltrumite than these stinky humans, so you're going to have to do. She has her way, beats the crap out of him, has her way with him, and when he's saying no the entire time, then she leaves him there and leaves him with a threat. Well, if this doesn't take, if I don't get pregnant, I'll be back. Oh my God. Picks up right after that moment. He's got to figure out what's going on. He goes to Cecil to tell him what has happened with Robot. And Robot shows up and some stuff happens. And it's nuts. This issue is nuts. They are building up to something very, very big. It's on, man. I mean, they had those little lulls, but he is telling a really cool story. And he has made a character that we've watched from the beginning, Robot, into the ultimate villain. It is beautifully patient writing, wonderful stuff. Invincible's the best superhero book on the stands right now. If you're not reading it, you should be. Great stuff.
My top pick here is Forever Evil #7. We've been waiting for this for a while.
Forever.
This started off really strong and then kind of meandered a bit. And I'm really hoping that this issue kind of pulls it together. Where we left off, Lex Luthor had apparently killed Dick Grayson. In here, we see that obviously that's not the case because he's got his own book coming out soon. But
they've already spoiled all of the things coming out of it. It seems.
No, they didn't.
Not everything, but
I just flipped through this and all that stuff. Like, oh, they spoiled everything. No, they didn't. First of all, they didn't. No one has spoiled.
Yeah, I'm not reading it. Show me
this.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no one spoiled this. So,
all right.
So Lex saves the day. Actually, it looks like we've got Ted Kord in here too. So that's kind of interesting. Lex basically defeats the villains, saves the Justice League, and a few other little things in here that indicate that Lex's position in the DC universe is clearly going to be changing over the next few months, and that's good. And Jeff Johns, who wrote this, is taking over Superman, which features Lex Luthor.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm curious where two big things at the end of this make me wonder what's coming. There's some
crazy. All right.
It looks like they I see mention here a couple of spots where they talk about a threat from Darkseid, and someone worse than Darkseid shows up here. So yeah, I when I picked this as my top pick, it was before I flipped through it, and it was really just a kind of like, okay, finally. But
right.
As I get to the end here and see,
you're actually getting excited
like,
about
whoa, okay, this is while I know none of these things are necessarily permanent, that's some ballsy moves to do some of the stuff that they did in here. Overall there was some clever stuff. We had the Lex Luthor of Earth 3 in the last issue, who basically has the powers of Shazam, which I didn't see that coming. So while there's some predictable stuff in here, Jeff Johns seems like he can always throw something in that will make you go, "Oh, I was not expecting that," and I don't remember Rich Johnston leaking that either.
Right? Yeah, no,
So,
no, me neither.
yeah,
that would have been all over the place.
Kept a couple of interesting secrets for our evil. So let's
Very
give it
cool.
a shot. See what's going to happen in DC in the months to come.
Very cool. Well, one other thing I'd like to mention, we did have one book that I got shorted this week that I just, they sent me exactly one copy.
Oh, wow.
Green Lantern New Guardians is out this week, too.
Oh, well,
I have one copy.
I wondered why that wasn't in my stack.
I put it aside for you, but I had exactly one copy. I don't know how exactly that happened.
Strange.
But I should have more of those in the next couple of days. I told him to get on that, so we should get that before the week's end.
Cool.
So
yeah, that would have been in my stack too.
Yeah, right. I was looking. I was like, "Oh, did he see that one I put over there?" No, he didn't. But that did come this week. We just won't have them until probably like Thursday or Friday.
All right.
And that is your Week in Geek.